that structure. Well, let's get into why they showed that structure. If you look into something called the Lesser Key of Solomon, this is something that was talked about used to seal demons. But later down the line, it became something about this book of magic where they were using this as witchcraft, and it's exactly why they use that. This is the tool right here they're using. So the reason why they're using that is because it's a summoning. And so you've seen the big triangle, CERN is the circle, that's the portal. And so this is something that they're literally preparing us for, and this is their newer project. Even if you look back in ancient times, you can see that right there at the top is using that same radio frequency activity that CERN uses, because this is a long ancient story, and there's something that we can't see with our common eye, and I'm going to decode this for you too, because you need to understand this part, because it's deeper and it's a spiritual aspect, and that's why we must gear up spiritually. If you feel things around you but you can't see it, when you look at this right here, it tells you while the human eye can only see between 430 to 770 THz, our ears can only detect sound between 20 to 20 kHz. Now maybe there's some others who has this supernatural sense, and maybe they can, but not everybody does. 770 THz, I want you to remember that, right? You're seeing that on screen, 770 THz. Have a lot of you heard about this? And the question to me, from me to you, is why would they use 770 THz? Do they need to hide something from us? Because CERN specifically uses 770 THz in their so-called non-invasive beam diagnostics. And so I said diagnostics. So check this document out right here. Look what it says. Surface plasmon polariton resonance of 770 THz and cylindrical geometry compatible with dielectric laser accelerator. So why would they be using that, everybody here? A, would they be using it for reasons to open portals? Or B, are they using that because they're hiding the resonance of demons around us, because they're projecting a lot of them into our atmosphere? I want to see what you say here in the comments, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it means. And there's another huge link that goes into this story, and it's the scientists are hunting now. They're talking about they're finding these alien objects, which is artifacts. And I'm going to show you what the guy's saying on the ground. I'm going to show you one piece of what they found. This is one piece of what they found. And they're saying this is very rare stuff that they're finding now, because they have this giant magnet and stuff like that. So, again,
platinum, which in a combination that is very rare for any commercial product on Earth. So that's very intriguing. And if we find more of these wires, and we don't find them, that's very important, we don't find them in a control region, then it could be a technosignature, a new type of a technosignature.
So this is the beginning phase of the huge change, where a technosignature, decoding what certain beings are saying to you, because obviously they've been talking to these beings for a long time, the fallen ones, all of them, the big storyline, all of it's leading up into this one big picture. I mean, and they have to go and consult with the fallen ones as well before all these big events happening, which is probably why you're seeing today, just recently, the prime minister of, it was India, I believe, he went to the Pyramid of Giza. And they go to the Pyramid of Giza, which obviously in the past, these people had elongated skulls. You probably heard about this. Some of them was reported to be hybrided between different races, the fallen ones. And I mean, they make this symbolic as they put this in the public's eye, that hey, he's going out to the Pyramid of Giza for this situation. Now, this ex-military guy comes up in this next story pretty soon, and I'm going to show you about something they seen that was just not of this world. And the story keeps deepening as well on this whole fake alien invasion tactic. So in Ohio, just recently, it was nothing but 2 days ago, this story came out, and they're pushing this agenda hard as they can.
He saw the lights around 10:30 or 11 last night, and take a look at this video he sent us. You can see a ring of bright green lights rotating in the sky, and another video taken by Bryce Garrick also shows those lights. And then all of a sudden you can see the lights will quickly zoom off to the left of your screen, and then they just disappear. Now Little says it appeared to be much larger than a drone.
and it looked like something I'd never seen before at all. Like, a bunch of people stayed around recording because people were like terrified.
Listen, if you're tuning in right now, you're alive. I know you have a soul. I know that you're in a position to where you're isolated from a lot of society, and most of them don't even believe what you're telling them on a daily basis. I've been there, and I am there. But as we go through this crisis, we must be linked spiritually so that we can actually take forward what's about to attack us, because this is going to be attacked beyond what we've seen before in our lifetimes. And I detail a story next because the fallen ones are connected with this. So the sun blacking out, the whole story, oh, we're going to have an internet blackout, that's probably tied into with beings being able to roam around the earth for certain amounts of time with no power. Doesn't mean that you can't have a flashlight or something else to make sure that certain beings doesn't attack you. But the thing is this, I want to go into this story here, and it's about first what they said they were projecting in the atmosphere. They said whenever we have this blackout, we're going to put stuff like this in the atmosphere. And you're going to see this video on screen right now. This video just came out. So China was saying, look, we're going to put up 2 different moons, or we're going to have an artificial moon, and we're going to project that on the cities. So moonlight, and then, you know, some of this moonlight has its different frequencies that it can affect certain things and beings as well. Is there a reason why they want to do that during the dark moments? That's a big question you have to ask yourself, and you have to leave in the comments if I'm missing something. Now, the strange thing, like I said, is connected to fallen ones and everything. Because this military guy who's a combat veteran on his Twitter, he released this video about another combat veteran who seen something that pretty much shock in detail. It's more about the fallen ones.
Back in 2005, I was actually stationed or deployed to Qatar. It was a completely normal mission for us. We were not alerted for anything abnormal. It was in the middle of the day. I remember coming into a base in Afghanistan called Bagram. Back in those days, it was pretty austere. It was an old Russian air base that we were using. It's basically built in a bowl in the mountains where you have to stay high right up in the last minute, and then you basically come screaming back down to land. The area to the side of it was called the Valley of Death because during the Soviet days with the Mujahideen, they had fired their rockets into a lot of the helicopters, so you could see all kinds of wrecks and stuff in the valley below, which for the most part I didn't pay attention to because I was a little busy getting the airplane on the ground safely. We landed and basically was told to taxi to the very end of the tarmac. And like I said, it was middle of the day, very hot. I remember that. We opened the doors and unloaded the equipment that we had brought in. And then we were met at the aircraft by what we later on called the babysitters. But they kind of introduced themselves and said, hey, no cameras, nobody's taking pictures here. We're moving some high-value stuff. When the load got there, we're very, of course, curious to see what it was, because that's just the way you are when you're told that you're not allowed to have a camera. They say this thing had been dead for maybe a day or 2, but it stunk. And when I say stunk, I've smelled dead things before, but this had more of a, I want to say a musky stink, kind of a, not really a decay, but more of a, if somebody hadn't taken a shower in like 10 years type of a musky stink is all I can tell you. And it was basically a dead guy. And this guy was extremely